I didn't know that you set me up.
Would you like to hear a tale?
Yeah, absolutely.
Folks, would you like to hear a tale?
That was great.
Gather around before I aggravate you to death. What would you like to hear about? The story of Scotland, the King and the Blacksmith, any number of tales.
King and the Blacksmith.
You want to hear about the King and the Blacksmith?
Yeah.
All right. There once was a great king, and he lived in a grand castle. And he wanted to find out one day who was the master craftsman in all his kingdom. So he called them all together, and he pulled them into his grand hall. And he lined them up before himself. And the carpenter came forward, and he said, I am the greatest craftsman of all, for I build walls to keep the kingdom up. The thatcher, who makes the roofs, said, nay, I am the master craftsman, because I keep the roofs up. They keep your head dry. The cobbler came forward, and he says, I make your shoes. They keep your feet dry. The stonemason came forward, and he said, nay, I am the best of them all, for I build the walls that defend your kingdom. Even the knights in their grand armor came forward and said, no, 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 we are most important in your entire kingdom. And then one lone man stood up, covered in soot, smelling of hellfire and brimstone. And the king said to him, who are you, sir? He said, why, Lord, I am your blacksmith. And he said, be gone from my hall. You're stinking up the place. So the blacksmith went home, and he laid down his hammer, and he laid down his tongs, and he tamped down the fire in his forge. And he sat down, and his fine lady gave him a wonderful drink, and he smiled. Very soon, the cobbler had no tacks for the shoes. The carpenter had no nails to build the walls. The stonemasons had no chisels to put up the king's castle. The thatcher had no sides to cut the thatch for the roofs. And all in all, in the end, none of them had any tools. And the king came to the blacksmith, and he said, sir, I entreat you to go back to work. And the blacksmith happily took up his tongs and his hammer and lit his forge and went back to work. The king went away with a smile upon his face back to his grand hall, because he had finally found out who was the master craftsman of them all, the one that allowed the rest of them to function. It was the blacksmith. That is the tale of the king. That's very true, too. The blacksmith allows everybody else to function. And annoys the crud out of everybody he can.